Welcome to the Justin Hamilton podcast. On today's episode, Will Anderson is back for an 8 a.m. catch up. There is a little bit of discussion about the movie The Odyssey, but if you still haven't seen the film yet, we talk around it. He hasn't seen the film, and therefore he doesn't want any spoilers, and so I do not give any. So if you're sitting there thinking, am I able to listen to this? Absolutely. If you haven't seen the film, you can listen to this podcast. There's nothing to worry about. And then if you deliberately skipped the podcast with Alexi Toliopoulos that dropped last week, after you see the film, then you can go back and check that out. In a week or two, Adam Richard and I will record a podcast that will... after we've seen the film a couple of times, I've already seen it a few times, but Adam's going to see it again with his partner, and then we'll kind of dig into what we've discovered from subsequent viewings, and then also through digging into the text a little bit more. So we have a very nerdy episode about that coming up soon. But today you are scot-free. It's just Will and I talking, and basically how this movie justifies something that Will has been saying for a long time, and he has no idea what I'm talking about when I throw it his way, and that's great because he seems pretty rapt when I reveal to him why this movie has justified something that he believes. Before we launch into that, if you would like to support this podcast over at Patreon, you can find a tier that suits you. And for as little as $5 a month, all the money that goes into the Patreon goes back into the maintenance of this podcast, and just kind of keeps it running along, as it were. So if you would like to sign up, head to patreon.com/Justin Hamilton, and you can find a tier that suits you. All right, I'll come back at the end, let you know who's coming up on Thursday. But for now, let's bring in Mr. Will Anderson. I don't know if you were across this, but you should have felt very good about yourself over the weekend.
What do you mean?
Well, there was
I
something.
mean, that's rare. It's rare that I just randomly feel really good about myself on the weekend. So I would have noticed it if it had happened.
Well, you should have, because something happened that justified a lot of your thinking and thought processes.
Okay. Interesting. Something happened on the weekend that justified a lot of my thinking and my thought processes. Oh, no, I am so intrigued now. Okay, give me a clue, maybe. Let's get closer to what it might have been. Give me an area.
Well, it's your theories on what's happening online.
Oh, okay. It's so funny because my girlfriend will do an impression of me, and the impression of me is basically that she will start to mutter to herself and like raise her shoulders up and down like this, like an old man just like limping along, and then she'll just be like, "The internet is bad. I need to read another book about how the internet is bad." And I think it's a pretty accurate impression of me, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes it can be quite startling to see someone do you, and you go, "Oh,
like,
yeah,
you've nailed me.
Yeah,
you've got me there."
Yeah, I remember once someone told me that Tom Gleeson did a really good impersonation of me, and I was like, "Me? Like, what do I do? It's not like I even have anything that I do on a regular basis." I went, "Oh, hang on a sec. It might be all these hand gestures."
It's basically the same hand gestures as Tom, except that he just has to be a little bit happier when he's making them.
Yeah, a little bit more joyful and a little less reach.
The two of you would actually be great air traffic controllers in case of emergency. During COVID, we were all looking at what we would be able to take our current skills and apply them to. You both have the precise hand gestures that I require in my air traffic control management, people.
Yep, we can land planes, and in our downtime, we could be synchronized swimmers.
Absolutely. I mean, great. Wouldn't that be great at the next Olympics? And in the synchronized swimming team for Australia, ready to synchronize swim hard, it's Justin Hamilton and Tom Gleeson.
Tom Gleeson. And then we go out in the first round because I forgot that I don't swim.
Oh, yeah, you can't swim. That's the degree of difficulty. That's what's made it hard.
Yeah, that's what. Well, their technique was actually quite basic, but the fact that he's out there.
Synchronized drowning. Gleeson has to go down with you. That's the problem. We lose you both.
His family
Like, I
going,
had to keep synchronized. That's the whole point.
this is a disaster. So yes, it's in the world of
Yeah, okay.
online.
Go on. I'm fascinated. Please tell me.
Well, you are convinced that the majority of negativity that we hear online is a small percentage of people and often
Yes.
manufactured
Often not people, often
and often
bots
not
that have
people.
been, manufactured to have this discourse online with other bots for the sake of, I don't know, ruining the world or whatever the fuck we're up to, I guess.
Yes. Well, with all of the negative attacks that the movie The Odyssey was making online, it just opened to 257 million worldwide. And all those people who were attacking the film for Elliot Page and Lupita Nyong'o, etc., um, had no effect whatsoever.
Oh no, I heard it was actually going to make 260 million in
Oh,
the opening
right. Okay.
weekend, so it's really
Well, it
actually a
has done.
disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. It made a little dent. But I thought you would be that should fill you full of pride that you're on the right track.
Oh, I know that I'm on the right track, but I'm worried that regardless of this, it's a problem. Like knowing it isn't enough because what's
Mm.
happening is that our information pipes, our waterways, our clean waterways are being polluted by this slop that is just pouring into them. So even the good information is hard to discern from bad information because we've polluted all the good information with this just absolute fucking dross that's everywhere.
Right, but doesn't this at least give you a weapon to use in your argument?
Yeah, I know, but then there'll be like 1,000 bots making the opposite argument that'll drown out my good argument. This is the whole point. It doesn't even matter that you have a good argument anymore. I will say this though, yes. I think the fact that I have checked so many times in the last couple of weeks, because I'm about to go to Brisbane to do some shows, and Brisbane doesn't have an IMAX theatre.
Mm.
The closest IMAX theatre is on the Gold Coast. And I've been checking. I've been in and out of Sydney that does have an IMAX theatre, and so every time that I've been in Sydney in the last week or so, I've just checked because it was like they were playing it at 6 o'clock in the morning and
Oh
stuff. So I was
yeah.
like, oh well, maybe I can go and catch it before one of my Gruen meetings or something like that. Maybe there's a point in the schedule. And every time I would go to like check one of those screenings at the IMAX, it was completely full, or at least it was full in all the seats that won't give you a stroke sitting in that IMAX.
Yeah, like
I think
good
there's
on you for a first. Like, do not sit in the front row your first time.
I was going to say the people down the front should be in dentist chairs. It feels like it's playing
Yeah.
on the roof. Like it's like, you know what? If you want us into these front seats, you first have to tick a box that you've done an ayahuasca ceremony or tried DMT because that's the only thing that's going to prepare you for the experience you're about to have.
Yeah.
And so again, last night I was in Sydney, checked again. I thought maybe a Sunday or a Sunday late session, there might be
Mm.
tickets available, but there is not tickets available. So it means that people, not only are people going out to see this movie, but people have got the message that there is that this movie was made in IMAX and it would be great to go and see it in IMAX. That Sydney IMAX theatre normally, and this was my worry, it normally rolls through the movies every like week or maybe maximum 2 weeks if it's a
Mm.
popular movie at that IMAX. And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, by the time I get back, is it going to still be playing at IMAX? But I think it probably will be.
Oh yeah, I reckon they'll be on the weekend. I saw an email from IMAX come around. I was in the studio working, and it said that they'd put on two 6:15 sessions next Saturday and Sunday. And I know a couple of my mates had not been able to see it, so I thought, oh. All right, that email came in 37 minutes ago. I'll go and check for them, and maybe I'll even buy them the tickets so then they can go. It was sold out, gone within 37 minutes of announcing it. It was completely sold out, both
I mean, it's
sessions.
incredible for what is nearly a 3 hour movie, or is it a
Yeah,
3 hour movie?
2 hours and 50.
Okay. Yeah, 2 hours and 50 of your time to be sold out that much. Yeah, I mean, there is something about that.
Mm.
The event that this is a Christopher Nolan movie that is, that people have this level of anticipation for. That's pretty exciting in itself because we've,
Mm.
gone through the journey, you in particular, of going from him being, I mean, really, we're old enough that Christopher Nolan's movie career has grown up at the same time as we've been growing up into adults. And
Yes.
to see someone who like made those early movies that we like so much become this bankable, opening weekend, regardless of what story he has to tell. I mean, the idea that it could be the Odyssey that is selling out all these theaters in advance for so long and making this amount of money on the first weekend is quite incredible in of itself. But the idea that people are willing to go out and sit with our short attention spans, apparently, these people who apparently will not watch a television show on Netflix without the cast of that television show repeating what they are doing in the plot of that show every
Oh
15
yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
And yet, there is still, it turns out, if you do get offline and you get away from all that discourse, which actually maybe might not represent what the real world is like, and you have a little faith in yourself and what it is you're doing, and you lean into it, then maybe yes, as you said, like as we started with, the idea that there was all this like discourse around this being some sort of woke movie and that the people would be able to boycott it or shut it down. Okay, don't go. In fact, I would think that for some people, the idea of being able to sit in the dark, in the quiet, in the cool air for 2 hours and 50 minutes without having to interact with any of those people would be a compelling proposition in itself,
Yeah,
regardless of whether you like the movie or not. Guess
yeah.
what? You're just going to have 3 hours where you can sit in silence, not surrounded by fuckwits. How about that?
That's
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
compelling. For
Yeah,
35 bucks, that's a
yeah.
bargain.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some snacks. I'll be fine. Yeah, it's what I'm actually hoping the film does is a little bit of backburning in that, there is without doubt a percentage of Nolan fans that drive me insane. And if they're the people that we're losing to wokeness, as it were, great. This movie's really doing a lot for me.
So how many times this is, let's timestamp this,
Yeah,
8:30 Monday morning,
yeah,
Monday the 20th of July.
yeah.
So at this point, how many times have you viewed this 2 hour 50 movie?
Well, I got to see a preview on last Monday,
Yeah,
so that
this
was
is a
nice.
week ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's it.
And then
Yeah,
it
that's all you've
was
seen, the
released.
preview? Yeah.
Oh, no, and then I'd already bought a midnight session,
Oh, for
so
when?
at
Oh, for
IMAX.
Wednesday night,
Yeah, yeah.
midnight.
So
Yeah, for
yeah,
the opening.
so I saw
Okay,
that as
twice.
well.
So you've
Yeah.
seen it twice. Okay.
Well, my friends Richard and Kim wanted
Mm.
to see it, and they
Oh,
asked if
yeah.
I wanted to go with them to 70 millimeter on
Where were they
the
going?
to the Ritz Cinema on the
Okay.
Friday. So
On Friday. So you've seen it three times in
yeah,
IMAX twice and then once in 70 millimeter. Is that right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd
Okay.
been curious to see what it would look like in 70 millimeter. So I'd
Yeah.
already bought tickets for
Oh,
70 millimeter on the
okay.
Saturday. So I caught
Uh-huh.
up with our friend James and I went then.
Oh, on Saturday. Oh, so you've
Yeah.
seen it four times.
So
Okay,
I've seen it
great.
four times.
Twice in 70 millimeter, 140 millimeters of it,
Yeah.
and then twice in IMAX.
Sure have. And I will go again. It's
Yeah,
great.
okay. Thoughts. Yes. Start. Where do we start? I mean, I know you've talked about it with Alexi on the podcast last week. People should check that out. But tell me now that you've sat with it four times,
Yeah.
what do you think? What have you seen? What did you see on the fourth time that maybe you didn't pick up on the first time? Like, give us a little, I mean, without, spoilers or whatever, but just what's even maybe, okay, you know what? Let's not even start with the movie.
Okay.
Let's start with why did you go and see this movie four times this week? Like
Yeah.
we went through the funny version of it then, but let's just talk about what is it? What is this? What role is this playing in your life that you have decided to dedicate a week of your life? Now, a week that you were going to be off work, it turned out that your work got shuffled around, and it
Mate,
turns out you had to combine being at work with this schedule of apparently working on just watching Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey for a week.
like
Um,
I'm tired today.
yeah. Uh, Tell me, why? Just why for a start?
So it's interesting because I did think about it, and it's so there's a couple of things. One is it's interesting what you said about growing up with the career because it was like, as I've said, I saw Memento at the cinema because I like Guy Pearce, and then I saw Insomnia because I like Pacino and Robin Williams, and it's by that guy that made Memento. And then I saw Batman Begins because it's like, oh, a new Batman, and oh, it's by that guy that I like that film. And then The Prestige was the first time I was like, I'm going to go and see this Christopher Nolan film. So it feels like it's been a kind of natural progression in that. But I think his films have filled a creative gap for me that David Bowie albums used to represent. So, you'd anticipate a Bowie album, you'd go, you'd buy it, and you'd like I'd listen to it. I'd listen to it consistently over, a certain amount of time to, get your head around it, try to work out what's going on. And I kind of think that his films have, they're scratching that creative itch that I no longer get.
I love this, and maybe it's an old-fashioned idea, but the idea of I think we live in a culture where we are so quickly distracted from whatever just happened. And there's so much incentive to be distracted. Hey, look over here. There's another thing going on. Flick, 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 infinite scroll, right? Look around. And there's no encouragement to watch something a second time or read a book a second time or take the time to read the book and then go for a walk and think about what you just read, or watch the movie and take some time to talk about the movie with your friends. Not just, I've seen it, tick, 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 but that opportunity to actually sit down. I mean, the other morning when we were having breakfast, our little off-air podcast, the little artisanal acoustic podcast that we just do for the people walking by on the street
Yeah,
in
and
the
the
morning.
waiters.
I mean, the same amount of Husey talk, probably. I will say this, that there is we were talking about Eddington, the movie Eddington that we
Mm,
both had seen and loved so much, and how prescient it had actually been, and how it was a bit of a slept on movie that people thought was about the pandemic, but really is about as much about the times in which we live, including like a lingering shot at the end that kind of reveals to you what the real danger we might be
yes.
facing in the world that we're in. And now, a few years on for that movie, like being in the mainstream consciousness, the very things that it was warning against are in the mainstream conversation, like quite a prescient movie. And I remember just how nice it was to even just sit down with you months after that movie was released to be able to go, remember that movie and all the things it was doing and how relevant it is to what we're still going through. That encouragement to do that and to about it and talk about it in context with the world and how it might be engaging with the world and our times. It still is in our culture. It's everywhere. In fact, in a way, unfortunately, the problem is, or maybe not unfortunately, but there is so much now that same level of discussion will be put into the Real Housewives or
Right.
Love is Blind or whatever. And that is fine too. If that's your Odyssey, go
Mm,
and be in that world and consume that world. But what we didn't kind of tell people is we've brought in this world where there is like now 1,000 different flavors.
yeah.
But what we haven't kind of got the message through to people is it's still good sometimes to just pick three flavors and really like taste those flavors
Yes.
and like, really enjoy those flavors rather than going, I've got to get through this flavor so I can get to the next flavor because there's still like another 999 flavors that I need to try. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a bad analogy because now that I've said all those flavors, I am so hungry. But
I was thinking I wouldn't mind some ice cream, and it's way too early to start the day like that.
But do you know what I mean? We haven't
Yeah.
had, now that you can do everything, we need to have a conversation about how it's good to sometimes you could get more value out of focusing on one thing than you do. Go to an art gallery sometimes. When we went to Mona recently as part of the Dark Mofo Festival, we went and spent an hour in have you been to the Madonna, that art? So it's a visual display exhibition. It's a bunch of TVs. There's all these people singing Madonna songs, right?
Oh,
So
right. Yes, I've heard
the
of it.
artist has got them all in, obviously individually, to sing. You can't hear the music, and then just combined all the voices on the screen, like opening of the Brady Bunch kind of vibe, but with all these different people. And it's the sort of thing when you go there, you'll pop your head in for 3 or 4 minutes, you'll watch them do one or two Madonna songs, you'll move on. Last time we went, we decided to go in there and see if we could sit through the entire reel, which is like an hour or whatever, of
Mm,
like people doing Madonna song to Madonna song. And we did. And in doing that, I got more out of that hour I spent with that one work of art that I think that I've got out of almost all the other visits to that museum combined,
mm,
because it was taking the time to spend the time with it, to sit in it, to examine it, to really stop down for something, to give it importance in my life so that I could like think about it in an important way. to just slow down and stop and watch. Is that any part of what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the fact is that as not just him, but his wife and the team.
Mm.
They're making something that is entertaining. That's purely the first and foremost thing. When you see the film, it's entertaining, and then there's all these different layers, and there's all these different revelations that the film slowly kind of unveils as you go along. And so the first time you see it, it's a little bit like you're overwhelmed taking everything in. You can work it out, but by
Mm.
the end of it, you're a bit spaced out when you leave the cinema. And then it's like with the second one, when you kind of know what's coming, you can sit in these moments and you can appreciate, the focus on dialogue, and you can focus on performance, and you can focus on the way a shot has been set up. And the once again, it's like a palimpsest. You keep peeling back these layers, and you get more revelations with each kind of watch. What was interesting is I've had. When our friend James and I went and saw it, when we left the cinema, we walked for an hour, like without even really working out where we were going, discussing the film. And as he pointed out, may have been the two espresso martinis that we had before the film. But, you got to burn that shit off somehow. And then last night, I had two different phone calls from two different people who had just seen the film and wanted to discuss it. And one phone call was like a 45-minute chat, and the other one was like an hour 10. And so people aren't just seeing it and engaging, they're taking on the ideas and then they want to unpack them in conversations, which is so much better than, did you see it? Yeah. Did you like it? It was good. Do you have anything else? No, I've ticked that box. It is giving audiences something to think about that they then want to unpack with their friends.
Without spoilers, what are the
Mm.
themes that you think that they are trying to play here? What are the relevancies to modern times or the irrelevancies to modern times? I'm not sure, having not seen it, what area they're playing in. What are you responding to?
It's I think what the film does is in a way in a very Nolan way, he's made a prequel to Oppenheimer, a thematic prequel to that film. And basically, this film is a reflection of people today and what happens when you forget or go against your principles, and the ramifications of that, and what can you do to possibly remember who you're meant to be and then get yourself back on track.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it also has a big cyclops, like it's that kind of film where you've got big heady ideas like that, and a creature of myth.
There's a Radiohead lyric that I always come back to. For a minute there, I lost myself, right?
Mm,
They, and that is such a compelling story, I think. Somebody who's lost their way and wants to find their way back to themselves or to their world or whatever it is. Because I do feel like we all, I mean, I know that in the last few years of my life, for various reasons, that's an emotion that I've experienced quite a lot. That idea of who am I and how can
mm,
I get back to whatever I think that is. And it can be such a difficult thing to even work out, who you are, like to get back to it, and then to try and find that path back. And sometimes you feel like you've gone so far away from who that person was that you're not even sure that person exists anymore. I mean, it's a conversation we've had. It's quite relevant to me this weekend just passed because
mm.
I did a stand-up set as part of the Newcastle Comedy Festival. They had a big gala show, and it was that asked me, before to do the show, and I hadn't been able to do it, and I'd agreed to do it this year, and then bad stuff happened in my world, and meant I had to cancel a bunch of shows. And the main thing that I cancelled was my stand-up commitments because, as you and I have spoken about a lot, my stand-up, my old stand-up, was all written in a world that to me, the person who wrote those jokes feels like they no longer exist. I feel like
Mm.
I'm a different person now for the, through the things that have happened, and it's very hard for me to go and put on those clothes and be in that space and be the person who wrote those jokes and who can tell those jokes and that has that same perspective. And I was quite dreading it. It went fine. It was actually fine because I think I'd put enough things in place to get through it and know I get through it. But it didn't feel like me still,
Mm.
like that connection between. And I wonder whether that person, the person who there's ever a way to get back to that person. Maybe that person's gone forever. And that's just the nature of when big, heavy things happen in your life that you get so substantially changed that maybe you shouldn't even desire to go back to the person you were before. Maybe you just have to go, okay, well, who is this new version of me that's had these experiences and been through these things? And how can I fashion and shape that into a home base for who I am and what I believe and what I'm going to do. But it is difficult. It's like a very compelling and difficult and human story to tell.
Yeah. Well, I think there is, uh, when you've gone through trauma, you can get back to the foundations of who you were beforehand, and then I think if you can kind of get reset that base, then you can. Rebuild yourself. I don't think you can get back to that person, but you can take the foundations and move on to a bigger and better version of yourself now.
Yeah, and by the way, that person that I'm fictionally getting back to wasn't always making good decisions on my behalf either. So
Yeah.
I might take some of the experience that I've gained in the
Yeah.
meantime and throw that into the mix.
Yeah.
There's been some sadness and disappointment and tragedy, but there's also been some learnings. So
Yeah.
we might not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, yeah, keep some of it. That's what it is. You sift through it and you go, well, all of that can go, but I'll keep these
Yeah.
few tenets that I have here. So I think that is just
And when
some
you say tenets, you mean,
the
the Christopher
sage or
Nolan movie, right? Yeah.
it all comes back. It all comes back. It's all for front and center at the moment. But it's also just been nice sitting in cinemas that I've seen it 4 times, and 4 times everyone's clapped at the end.
Well, 4 times you would have gone to full cinemas too, which
Yeah,
isn't always the case, right?
yeah, yeah, and it's great. It's great sitting in there and kind of knowing how it's going to unfold, and I'm watching it on a different level because I'm looking for different things. But like the guy next to me, there's a couple of genuine scare jumps, and geez, I enjoyed every time he flew through the roof.
I'm interested in it's like, I mean, I guess film is a little bit different, but it's that Christopher Nolan thing of looking at the world and thinking it's going in a direction that I don't want.
Mm,
I could either keep up with the times and go in the direction that filmmaking is going in, or I could do the opposite, which is show people why doing it a different way is still a cool idea, right?
mm,
Go to all, there must have been so many times in a world of AI, like it's hard to justify building a new camera that can only shoot for 3 minutes to, lug it up a hill to, it's hard to justify the idea of, nah, we're going to do this with practical effects and whatever. And yet he does still like and I'm going to shoot it in IMAX because I want it to be seen like this. I'm going to take the time. This is the story that I'm going to do. I think it's something quite inspirational, but without it being an art project, like
mm,
going, I'm still going to try to take this to the mainstream audience, but I'm going to make it just really great, not
mm.
just popular, but I'm going to try to prove to people, to show people that there's still an audience and a place for trying to make something really ambitious and great.
Well, his films always come in under budget, and they set aside 100 days to film it. They did it in 91. So when a studio commits to, makes a big commitment like they did with this, they at least know that this is the commitment, and it's not going to be another 150 million because the green screen didn't work, or they've now worked out what the script is. And
Well, I
also,
mean, according to my friend Dave Hughes, apparently we should get Christopher Nolan to run the budgets for big builds in Australia
oh, maybe we should.
because they're famous for going over budget.
Yeah,
Imagine if that was the Victorian government in
yeah,
the lead up to the next election is going, we've made an announcement. We've
yeah.
put someone in charge of the tunnels and the train system. It's award-winning director Christopher Nolan. He
He
said
would,
he wanted 5 years off until his next film.
yeah.
he's going to come to Melbourne and fix the rail network in the meantime.
Imagine going to the Melbourne IMAX to watch the election result.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That'd be great. Get Jennifer Lehman to do the editing. That thing could be, I reckon that would probably bring in 50 million just in Melbourne alone.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan's cocky after the Odyssey. He's like, what
Yeah,
else can I make into a blockbuster?
like
The
literally
Victorian state election.
getting Harry Styles to play Dave Hughes. Just zhuzh him up a little bit. But also, the thing that I also like is, this is something that we've talked about before, which is I think audiences do respond to big, ambitious ideas. And, the dumbing down of entertainment is, it's it's more a fear of the people in charge. They often don't give things an opportunity to sit and find an audience or to, reveal itself so people can understand what it's going to be like. And the fact is that this is now back to back a movie about the guy who invented the atomic bomb and followed up by a 3,000-year-old text. And audiences know that they can at least rely on this person to give them something that they've never really seen before in a cinematic experience. And I like the fact that there is, I want this movie to annoy the Nolan bros who don't want a black woman as Helen of Troy, but I also like that it flips the bird at intellectual snobbery in that, there's complaints about, oh well, where are the jokes? And it's like, well, to be honest, 3,000-year-old puns aren't going to really land in a movie, and it'll veer the story into camp. So you're giving something to the masses. Like I've got friends who have no idea what the Odyssey is about, have never read it, had no idea that there is even a Cyclops in it. So they're
I mean,
saying,
I've never read the Odyssey.
oh,
I've
haven't you?
never. No, I get the gist. Like I've seen it represented in
Yeah,
popular
yeah,
culture.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I get what it is.
He's on a
Blah,
boat,
blah,
mate.
blah, blah. Yeah, exactly. I've seen the highlights. I've
Yeah,
seen it. I've seen it parodied in The Simpsons. I get it, guys. I've seen DuckTales,
yeah.
but I,
DuckTales.
but I've never read it. Like certainly, or any translation of it in full. Absolutely not. So
Mm,
yeah, I think that would be quite common that
mm.
people are going, and this is also what somebody who is making inventive work can offer us, which is like we find sometimes those things. So, I mean, a lot of people are never going to sit down and go, oh, yeah, I'm going to read the Odyssey.
Mm.
It feels too much and too hard. But I think probably after this, you might find that there are a whole bunch of people who might go and try to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's there is suddenly an interest in knowing what changed from the text, or I think people would be quite surprised to pick up a version of the book and discover that the way the movie is told at the cinema is pretty much the way it's told in the book. It
Mm.
is full of flashbacks and flash forwards and moving to the sides. It's interesting. It's quite clearly a foundational text for him. And then what's also fascinating is when you're sitting there, if you're across the Nolan oeuvre, you're sitting there going, oh, well, that's Inception. Oh, that's Batman Begins. Oh, that's Dunkirk, and everything that they've amassed as a team, all the skills and the experience being, utilized in this film.
Is there any chance we could convince Christopher Nolan
Mm.
to get back with his brother to just finish Westworld well? Maybe make a movie.
Oh,
Could we just like make
yeah.
a Westworld movie
Yeah.
that actually finishes the TV series well?
Yeah, it's interesting because Jonah Nolan is the uh, Christopher Nolan tells the story about when they first took Memento around, and I think they're at the Italian Film Festival, and someone asked Nolan about it, and Nolan said, "Well, it's open to interpretation, but this is my interpretation." And Jonah took him aside and said, "Never tell them what your interpretation is, because even though you said it's up to you, now that you've said it,
Mhm.
that's what it is. And it's funny that that first season of Westworld is so perfect, but I think they got caught up in listening to everything that was being written about it online, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, we have to make this more complicated." And it's like, "No, you don't. What you
No.
need to do, and this
They just
is
set up this perfect story. That's why
yeah,
that first season, I'm just like, this is great. I want to watch this forever.
awesome.
And then I
Yes,
was wrong.
yeah." And it was kind of the thing that was really frustrating was every season there was moments where you go,
Mhm.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
here
here
we
we
go.
go, this is good, but what you have to do now, modern storytellers have to do is, because there's a hive mind out there, if you
Yeah.
tell a story properly, of course people are going to work out what's going to happen, because
Yes.
because you're telling the story correctly. So you're setting it up and then people can work it out together. The trick is to answer questions that the audience didn't realize you were asking. So you might hold this up here and people work that out, but then what you do is you then hit them with a secondary and a third and a fourth idea, and that's where you get the surprise.
Also, I mean, when Harry met Sally, Harry and Sally are going to get together at the end, but it's
Yes.
it's watching them get together and how cleverly it's done that makes the movie. And I think that I see this all the time now, where there's a surprise twist or ending to something that doesn't make sense to the story. And
Yeah.
it's clearly that they thought they needed a surprise or a twist, as opposed to the idea that that's what the story earned in any way, or that it was a bad thing that the audience would work something out along the way. It's
Mm.
actually really nice. It's one of the things that people who write really good, because I love those sort of old-fashioned, English style locked room murder mystery style books,
Mm.
that
Yep.
Agatha Christie tradition, but done in that modern way. Anthony Horowitz and people like that who do it so well, is what they manage to do is give you all the clues along the way to solve the mystery. They're never trying to hide who it is for you. They just do an effective job of telling you the story in a way that you either kind of know, and then at the end you go, oh, yeah, of course it was that person. The first series of Deadlock is a great example of this,
Mm.
where I think they did such a great job of going, if you think about the show and the theme of the show, there is only really one person in the entire show that the murderer could be. And it
Yes.
makes complete sense who the murderer is. And yet, in doing the show, they do a really good job of just distracting you enough the whole way through where you can never quite, you've got this thought at the back of your mind of going, of course I know who it is. It makes complete sense who it is. It's logically only one person. And yet, they give you enough reasons along the way to think that there's other people that by the end, when it gets to be the person that you always, of course, suspected it should have been, and it is, that isn't disappointing. It's rewarding. It's like,
Mm.
yes, it clicks into place, and you go, yes, that's right. That does actually make sense to this story, and it's thematically correct, and it makes sense. Right? I'd take that any day. Is a thing that ends basically how you would have imagined it would have ended at the start, but it was surprising how they got and inventive how they got there over something that ends with a surprise or a twist. It's why M. Night Shyamalan never was able to translate the magic of The Sixth Sense into, even though there were other, things that he did that were interesting over
Mm.
the years, I think. But like, because it was always so dependent on the twist or the surprise, and people
Yeah.
would always want to guess the twist or the surprise. And then the more people want to guess the twist or the surprise, the more you feel like you have to bury the twist or surprise or give so many red herrings that like any twist or surprise doesn't even make narrative sense by the time you get to it.
Yeah, yeah, and also sometimes when you're layering so many, false flags, what you do is you forfeit character, and therefore you don't care by the time you get to the ending.
Yeah, or if you watch it a second time, none of it fucking makes sense because you've had to cheat so much of it
Yeah,
to make it work. Just
yeah.
tell the story well.
It's a little bit like, an audience. Sometimes if you set up a routine well, sometimes the audience in their head is thinking the punchline as you're saying it.
Yes. Part of it is that recognition that we all got there together. I just got there
Mm,
slightly, or I walked you to the point where we all thought the same thing at the same time. That's
mm,
the trick, right?
yeah,
You get a group of strangers and you get them all to the one place at the same time. That's not a thing to be avoided. That's the job.
yeah.
Bringing individuals into a collective. Like, that's what it's meant to do in that moment is this we're all meant to be have I mean I find that so The one I love is sometimes you'll be on stage telling a story where you're in peril and you can feel the audience start to go, is he going to make it through this? And you're like, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
I'm the
I'm
one
the one.
saying it.
I'm the one telling you the story. So if you think about this logically, at
Yeah.
any point, you're going to realize this ends up okay. But
Yeah.
if you're telling the story well, you will get people to the point where they're like, "Oh my God, he's not going to get out of this."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am because I'm
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah. And also it must end well because I want to
Yeah,
tell you. I don't want to be
yeah.
reliving this if it ends poorly. It's yeah, they totally overthought that show and it collapsed in on itself, which is a shame because that first season's pretty immaculate.
Yeah, I know it really is. Well, so Christopher Nolan has said, you sent me a message during the week that Christopher Nolan has announced that his next project won't be for another 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, which is kind of
About
the
right. That
typical
makes
turnaround
about
as well.
sense.
And
Yeah.
also, you know what? After this film, if he and his wife and team want to have a break, yeah, you guys deserved it.
What do you think Christopher Nolan does on a break?
I reckon those nerds watch a lot of movies.
Hmm.
And I reckon he's also, uh, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to museums and looking at paintings. Like there's a scene in this film that looks like the artwork of, I think it's Goya with Saturn eating, Saturn or Cronus, eating a victim that looks like it's an inspiration for a part of this film. So I reckon he's just nerding it up and consuming movies and looking at paintings and just feeding their intellect.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Also loves
Um,
Talladega Nights. You know, it's one of his favorite films. He, you
is
know,
that right? The
loves
legend of
it.
Ricky Bobby.
Yep, he quotes it all the time. He loves the Fast and the Furious movies. He thought
Mm.
Gladiator 2 was great. Like he's I think
Okay.
he's quite a broad enjoyer of the things that are made.
I mean, I'd love to see Christopher Nolan make a Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh, like it'd be pretty wild. But you know, like he could just like if
Uh,
Tenet was his Bond, just
yeah.
make your version of it, and you don't have to use any of those people. You can, you know, it's like making a hamburger with only the, you know, best ingredients that you can
Yeah.
find.
It'll be Vin Diesel will be Matt Damon,
Yes.
and like The Rock will be like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. 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 It'd be great. And all the stunts will be practical. You know, we could get back to a Blues Brothers days of cars smashing and flipping, and you know, I'd be in for
Well,
that.
it is one of those things that I think originally people liked about the Fast and the Furious movies was
Mm,
that they were practical effects. And
yeah,
you can go to the Universal Studios and see the cars from the Fast and the Furious and those stunt shows and all these sort of things. And I think people did love that about them. And then, like, I don't know, by the 11th one, they were flying into space or whatever.
yeah.
So
It's like, wait a minute.
I don't think this is a practical stunt anymore.
I feel like you learnt all the wrong lessons from Westworld. What are you doing? Get back on the ground, mate. But yeah, you know, like it is curious to know where do you go after you've told the story about the atomic bomb and then told the 3,000-year-old story of Odysseus.
Okay, so well, the Bible? Could you do the Bible?
Well, I wonder if it's, you know, he's a genre guy, so I'm
Mm.
wondering
Oh,
he hasn't made a mafia film,
oh yeah.
he hasn't made a cowboy film.
Horror? Is he made a horror film? Is one
He
of his
hasn't made a
films?
horror film, but
Mm.
there is horror elements all through his movies,
Hmm.
and it does
Yeah.
feel like there is a scene there's some body horror in this movie that is incredible to watch, and you know, it'd be interesting, like if he made a horror movie in IMAX, that is
Yes.
sounds dangerous.
Right. Like because most horror in the horror genre
Yeah.
it tends to be these days it's these little indie, films.
Oh
Like
yeah.
these sort of,
Like Obsession.
5
That.
million, 10 million making like $300 million. Like and
Oh
they're
yeah.
shot quick and fast and just one kind of good strong idea and then for a different generation. But like a Nolan epic horror. Like,
Mm.
a big screen, expensive, but maybe not too expensive. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be a super expensive movie.
No, no, he can make something technically smaller budget wise. By the way, Obsession. Have you seen Obsession?
No.
Obsession is a story that is so well told that there was a choice being made in the film, and I was all the way through the movie going, "That's a really bad choice. You set this up in a way that I just feel like you guys aren't thinking this through, and this is actually a really terrible choice." And then at some point, it was revealed that that was a terrible choice, and I did feel, as we were saying, sitting in the cinema going, that makes sense because you were
Yeah,
setting this
great.
up
Yes.
all the way through this film. So then when this hit, of course, that was how it ended up, you idiots.
I
It
had
was
a
great.
weird feeling, and that was intentional. Oh, you
Yeah.
meant me to have that weird
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does a remarkable job of, good horror. Sometimes you're laughing a bit as well. And then it's like, oh, Jesus, and it really straddles that beautifully.
I am excited about these, younger people making things that are lower budget. I mean, I'm
Mm.
excited about lower budget films in
Yeah.
general. I just think more creativity, you know, like less risk, more opportunity to do it again. I'm, I want people to have second opportunities. I want people to have third opportunities. And often, if your failure is big the first time or the second time or whenever your failure comes, it almost means that you never get a second shot. Whereas if we lower the stakes a little,
Mm.
in the same way as I had this thought the other day when I was watching Cameron James was on a recording of Philosophy that I was doing. I was doing a bulk recording of a few days, and Cameron James was one of the guests. And I wanted to watch Bad Company, the ABC show that Anne Edmonds
Mm.
created that has Kitty Flanagan. But Cam is actually like, it's funny, he's in almost every scene. Even if he's not talking, he's one of those characters that kind of is in it all the time. And I was really fascinated to talk to him about what that was experience was like for someone who's inexperienced in that world and all those things. But the major thing that I thought, having watched all 6 episodes of it in a row, was whenever they commission a show like this, or any show really, it should almost be compulsory to commission something for two series.
Yes, I
Like
totally
now,
agree.
I think from what I hear, and I don't know any, I don't have any inside information. No one's given me any, but I hear that show will come back.
Mm.
But I think it almost should be compulsory for everything to go. We're going to give you two. Just go
Yes.
into it and go try to get it right. Yeah, do your best with it, but we will give you two. We're going to give you the time to make sure that you get all this right because it was one of those things that by the end of it, I was like, oh, great. Now I want to watch it.
Yeah.
But you have to give people the opportunity to work out what it is that they're doing first.
Yes, and also, you need it. I'm sorry, you need things to be week to week, and then have patience with it.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing this with the Netflix model, where people aren't turning up for the second and third seasons of TV shows that have done well in the first place, and that's because they drop them all at once, and then you watch them all at once, and then well, then it's another 18 months and you haven't really thought about it and you've
Mate,
moved on.
I would argue that sometimes by the end of that day you don't think about it again.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if I watch 6 hours of I mean sorry less than 3 hours of 6 episodes of Bad Company on ABC iView, which I do recommend people do. It's like it
Mm,
definitely it's really funny and like it's really great comic performances, and I really do hope that it gets a second series and can really you know stretch its wings and fly. But I you do that, and then if I watch something else that night or that afternoon, that's almost gone because I
mm,
didn't have enough time to sit in it, to
yeah,
talk about it, to like what's going to happen next week, to kind of ponder it during the week, to sit around, and you just move on so quickly, and there is so much temptation out there to move on so quickly to whatever the next thing is that like it's gone within a day or it's gone within a week, let
yeah,
alone gone within 18 months from when you see it again. It it's an impossible way to really appreciate things. I
yeah,
think what we've done is we've robbed ourselves of the important part. It's so hard, I think, as a comedian. This is one of the hardest things that when you have other people in your life to explain that it's often the gap in between the work that is the most important part of the work. And you think you can cut out the gap, But as soon as you cut out the gap, like if you look at your diary and you go, oh, I've got this thing at 12 and I've got this thing at 3, I could do something in between. Except that now the thing at 12 and the thing at 3 aren't as good as they should be because you put something in between. Like we've cut out the spaces in our lives as if they were unnecessary. Oh,
Mm.
it's okay. You can fill in another bit here. Whereas maybe the spaces were as necessary as the consuming. Maybe
Yeah.
there's something between the consuming and in the same way as we shouldn't eat 24 hours a day. You've got to eat and then use that as fuel to go out and interact with the world. I think there's the same thing with entertainment that we're not giving people, the time to go. What you should do is like it'll take you 3 days to read this book and then take a couple of days to think about
Yeah. Yeah.
it before you start something new.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Widow's Bay is a prime example of something that came out. If that had been a binge model, that would not have found an audience. But the fact that was out week to week, it gave people enough time to, oh, that was interesting. Oh, I'm going to mention it to some people. The next episode's great as well. Oh, I'm seeing what they're doing, and it became that old-fashioned water cooler talk that turned it from being something that was quite niche into, it's potentially going to be the big Emmy winner for comedy. It's got a lot of nominations and has become a part of the discourse.
I mean, I'm excited. That probably is something that I'm going to watch in the next couple of weeks when I'm in Brisbane because, I'm doing my shows at night. These are the last shows that I'm doing for ages. So
Mm.
in a way, it really is that idea of I'm going into it. Sometimes you're going in going, okay, well, I've got to do my shows at night, but the rest of the time I'm going to have to be doing other things or working on whatever's next or whatever. Whereas in a way, these next 3 weeks, I'm just going to do the shows at night and I'll take my days as they come. I've been working really hard and had a big year. So might go and see some movies, catch up on some shows, try to rest and just do the best shows that I can do at night. And so I've got a couple of things that, Tamsin wouldn't really enjoy watching, or we've
Mm.
tried and they're not really her vibe that I think that I might get into. And so Widow's Bay is one of those, and The Killings at Parish Station, which is Ben Jenkins' show on Stan.
Mm.
I did a whole podcast with Ben Jenkins where I complained about not having Stan and how I couldn't log into Stan and how I thought I had Stan. And then I went full circle and I was like, actually, that's good because like I thought I had Stan and I haven't been logging into Stan and I was paying this is actually good. You're not paying for something that you're not using. Well
Yeah.
done. And then yesterday popped up on my charges. Here's your charge for Stan. And I'm like, oh fuck, I have Stan. So anyway,
So you got to try to work out how to log
since
in.
then, I've managed to identify where the stand is, and so
Right.
I'm going to watch The Killings at Parish Station as well.
Yeah, quickly get your money's worth. But yeah, this has been it's been exciting that there is this collective worldwide experience that is inspiring. It's just even the fact that two different friends called on a Sunday to discuss what they experienced is nice. It's a nice feeling.
Well, even that, and I've been actively trying to do it myself, which is, you and I have been going to breakfast each week when I've been in Sydney
Mm,
for Gruen. Like I've been trying to, you like that idea of going, oh, we used to call people when something funny or fun happened.
mm.
Like, it didn't have to be here's a load bearing catch up on the world phone call. It could just be hey, I saw this thing, or I just watched this movie, or I wanted to have a chat to you about this, or just say good day. And I don't know why, but I know particularly I fell out of that habit. I was never particularly great at that habit, but I've fallen out of it. But I've tried harder to re-engage with the world. And every time that I do, it's so rewarding. Like the idea of, taking that time to ring a friend to talk about a movie or whatever it is, it's so rewarding. And yet somehow we've been conned into this idea that it's better to argue with a stranger on the other side of the world who probably is a robot
Yeah, yeah,
than it is or to spend that 40 minutes you could have been speaking about that film with your friend, flicking through your options on your streamers without ever choosing anything to sit down and actually watch.
yeah.
We've been convinced that that is a better option when I don't believe that that is always a better option.
I've been contemplating the idea of getting some nice paper and actually once a week just picking a friend at random and writing them a letter. That feels like something that would be a fun thing to do.
I so um, I'm thinking about writing cards or like a note to the Gruen team this year,
Mm.
which is not a thing that I've ever done. But I remember when I did Rove's show back in the day, like Rove Live, his TV show, he would write every guest on that show a thank you card
Yeah.
afterwards. So you would get a card from Rove, like personally written by Rove with a little message about, thanking you for coming on and whatever it might be. And at the time I guess I just was like, that's unnecessary. People come on, they get paid, everyone's having a good time. It's fine. You don't need to follow up with a note or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but as I get older and more grateful, I guess, or, more understanding of, the role that gratitude should play, there is something quite nice about that idea of not just the person who's receiving the note, but the very act of you sitting down to write the note, to
Mm.
have to think about what it is that that person does for you or means to you, or you know the role that they play in your life or whatever. It's important. I guess in the end, what I've realized is I never thought about what it might mean to Rove
Right.
to write the letter. I was
Yes.
like, yeah, this is for me, and I didn't need this, so therefore I don't give it value. Not that I didn't think it was a nice thing to do or whatever, but you
No.
know me, I'm not like, I don't read fan letters or mail or like that's not my. So just for me, I was like, this is not what I did my job. You're my friend. Wrapped to be there. Don't need a follow up. Thank you. But now that I think about it, I'm like, what a, it. What about? I never thought about what it would be like for him each week to go. Well, I made this show that I really like, and here are the people who came and were
Yeah.
part of it. I'm going to sit down and write them a little thank you. Think about like it would have probably been a really good thing for him to
Mm.
engage in. Why he and then I was speaking to somebody who had worked in, it might have been Charlie Pickering on the show. I think Charlie Pickering's on the most recent Philosophy if people want to have a listen. And he was talking about being on Skit House and how Rove would always come in and just be, yeah, just give so much in the room, be the funniest person there, be the, like, yeah, you try to really just make sure that everybody knew that, like, it was fun and it was a good vibe. And I was like, yeah, he has actually always been really great at creating that energy and atmosphere and whatever. So yeah, I think it's a nice. I've been the same as you. I've been thinking about like that might be a really nice thing to just sit down and have a think and let people know how I think.
Yeah. Also, I might have to do some practice ones to get back into the physical act of writing in a way that people can read it.
Oh no, I'm going to get Claude to do it. Chat
Oh,
GPT.
yeah. Oh my Lord. I saw a thing where someone had used ChatGPT to write words at a funeral. It's
Oh my
like
God.
that is
Here's what Claude thought of my
bleak.
nan.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
something like that.
oh no. According to Mythos, my dad was a great guy
Yeah,
with great ideas. All his ideas were great.
yeah. What did you think of him? It says here
Yeah.
in this AI generated piece that I'm reading out.
Fuck me.
It is so brutal, isn't it? It was one of those things that I remember reading and just going, "Oh, I can't even contemplate that," and I had to kind of put it down and move away. Like in this moment of absolute grief, if you still, it doesn't matter if your words are perfect. That's not the point of it. They're meant to be your words.
I DJ'd a lot of weddings in my side hustle before I became a professional standing up comedian. And the thing that I can tell you through the experience of being there at these strangers' big day
Yeah.
is firstly, if you're the DJ at a wedding, like, I mean, I don't think even weddings really have DJs anymore, but this was back in the day where I was most of the setup for the mic and everything as well. Like the DJ kit would be all those things. So you would be there early in the day and people would practice their speeches or you would meet everybody, you'd see all the personalities. And the thing that I can tell you through my experience of doing that was just speak, if you speak from the heart,
Hmm.
in those occasions, that's all people want. People don't want a fancy speech. I mean, if you are a person who can make a fancy speech, yeah, that can work too. But somebody who's not good with words getting up there and just speaking from their heart and not being good with words is as good as someone who is good with words using those words effectively.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And people get it. They get it on some
Yeah.
intrinsic level. They get when you're being sincere to who you are. And
No one needs Gary, who like is a mechanic by day and has said three things to you in his entire life, getting up there going, the Oxford Dictionary defines marriage as. Like,
that would be a power move by Gary. He's really gone all out. Yeah, it's yeah, just speak from the heart, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm going to have to work on, because everything I write now is for me, and but I don't want to send something off and then get it returned with red rings around it and a score out of 10.
I mean, that would be tough. That would be tough if somebody just went, I'm going to mark this and send it back. Don't send it to a teacher first. So send your first note to somebody who's not going to give you corrections and markups.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going to be quite judicious in who I pick out. When do the Brisbane gigs start?
Today.
Oh,
I assume
today.
this is going up Tuesday.
Yep,
Wait, this is Monday morning, but
yep.
is it going up tomorrow?
It is going up tomorrow.
Tonight, come and see me tonight. In fact, tickets available all this week. I mean, tickets available for the whole thing, but it is starting to get some momentum going. So please come along. These are the last touring shows: Brisbane these 2 weeks, and then Canberra, and the week after that. What you're talking about, Will? It's my completely improvised stand-up show. I haven't done it since the comedy festival, so I'll be, that's a few months of not having done the shows, which I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually haven't been, because it's just been so tough to get through everything. These shows had started to feel a bit more like a burden, and that they were like something that I was joyfully looking forward to. And I think a lot of that was that hump of getting over that Newcastle gig that I was dreading,
Hmm.
because doing the stand up is harder than doing the improvised shows, because in the improvised shows I can just talk to the audience and create something on the spot. And this is the whole point of those shows, is I want to give people a really unique experience for the bother of going out of the house. I
Hmm.
want you to come along and we'll talk and we'll make something, and it'll be something that no one else ever gets to see again. And yeah, you can see the show more than once. If you're a person who wants to come and see it more than once, then please come and see it more than once. I enjoy that too when people come back. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I've got to the point now that I'm about to, talk to you, and then I get on a plane basically and fly to Brisbane. So, and then I'm just in the mode of being in Brisbane for 2 weeks doing the show, which is actually, now that I'm there, exciting. Now
Yes.
that I'm ready to go, I'm wrapped, and I can't wait.
And if people go to comedy.com.au and use the code word relax for Tuesday to Thursday episodes,
Yeah, that's right.
uh,
If there's some
performances.
tickets available, yeah, that's right. There was a limit on those tickets. Some of them are sold out, but yes, they'll. If you go to the link Tuesday through Thursday, it should just come up as like there's cheaper tickets if there are still some available. So check them out.
All right, I'll let you go because you've got to get to the airport and you live in Victoria. And that's your own odyssey that you're about to embark on.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you to Will for joining me today. And yes, if you're up in Brisbane, you have a couple of weeks to go and check out his shows and make sure you take advantage of any of the cheaper tickets that are available on the Tuesday to Thursday editions of the show. Head to comedy.com.au, use the word relax. And look, I know there's not as many left. A lot of you took that up ASAP. But if you'd like to get your hands on that, I would jump on that as soon as you can. On Thursday, Josh Earl will be on the podcast, and we're going to be talking music. So that'll be changing things up a little bit for you. So keep an eye and an ear out for that. As always, if you head to my website at justinhamilton.com.au, you can find links for Patreon. You can find links for the written work that I've been doing over at Substack. And you can find links for my YouTube page, where you can find some solo stand-up shows that I have filmed. And you can watch this as a video cast rather than listening to it as a podcast. So, yes, if you feel like you would like more of me in your life, head to justinhamilton.com.au. All right, I'm going to get going now, but I will be back on Thursday. I hope you're well, and I look forward to having your company again soon. Until then.